Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me for today's reading. Today's reading is going to be a collective spread for the week ahead. I'm looking at what energies are affecting us most for the week ahead, how things are likely to play out, and then also what advice we need to hear for this week. So the energy feels quite potent. We are experiencing a lunar eclipse on the 3rd of this month, so 2 days from now. Very interesting and unique energies that I'm sensing. So let's go ahead and get into it. I will leave all of my links below to connect with me on socials for personal readings. I will leave all of that link below, and let's go ahead and get started. So beginning with the energies that are most prominent this week and what we need to be aware of. So immediately, collectively, I'm being brought to the energy of stories playing out, something about things that were written in stone, written in old times. There's something about tradition and text, like books, information, literature. I do feel like this is symbolic of the collective stories that we are living through right now, and also how we may be able to find some grounding through ancient texts. Something about connecting to information of the past, connecting to elder wisdom, and how that is really needed at this time. What's really needed is what grounds and roots us and brings us back down into our body, because I'm sensing so much air energy. I'm sensing a lot of, it's almost just reminding me of something I've been thinking about recently, which is this question that we all have inside of, why are we here? What are we doing? What's the purpose? Something that can just lie dormant in our unconscious mind. And I think none of us truly have the answer. And that's the energy that I'm getting for the week collectively, that we are on a search for answers that we don't feel we have. We are on a search for, I'm getting justice, something about making things right. So collectively, the energy of justice is sitting at the forefront, which in itself says a lot about the heavy polarity, the intense polarity of the times. So much being revealed and coming to light, and with that, a heavy need to ground and center. So something that could be really helpful this week is reading more books. Also connecting to the heart. There's a lot about the heart, the home, family, children, elders as well, which is interesting because when I think of elders and stories, I think of the points that we get to when we are aging and reflecting on our story and chapters that we've completed. So this is also really symbolic, whoa, of the completing of a chapter this week. Collectively, I'm really curious about, interesting. So splitting the deck, we have the crossroads. When I'm asking for clarification on the completion of a story, of a chapter collectively, we have the crossroads, which is interesting because something that came into my head when I was washing the dishes earlier was these points of no return that we come to in humanity, where you really can't bridge the past back into what it was, and we haven't yet created a new future, so we're just in this in-between world and space. And that makes so much sense with all this mental energy that I'm getting and disassociating and the struggling to process all of this in our bodies and to ground and to keep our feet on the ground, because there's so much of a desire to feel stable, but we have not yet created this collective future that we're certain of. In fact, it's quite the opposite, that we don't really seem to know what's going to happen, how things are going to play out, what's safe and what's not. So much is up in the air. I think the good thing about this is that we're called individually within our own lives to reflect on chapters that we're closing out. This feels really sentimental, and that's what I picked up on when I first opened this reading. The energy over the week feels like we're reflecting on things that are very deep and meaningful. There's a lot of information that we're sitting with of it's just making me think of, as we're gaining more awareness of who we are and sitting with ourselves more, we're sitting with the reality of our entire lives, where we're going, the futures that we want to create, the limited time that we have here on earth to do that. I think those are the heavy realities that we're sitting with. And even though these things are heavy realities to face, it gives us the power to decide. And I think that's very powerful this week. So let's go ahead and look into how things are looking to play out, which is so interesting. We have all this elder ancestral energy coming up for the week, because I'm also getting something about the mother feminine energy that is being, I want to say, prioritized and put in a place of importance this week. So this could be very specific for some of you, that there's things happening with your mother or feminine in your life, needing to maybe connect with them, communicate. I'm seeing also something about an important woman figure in the collective who, for some reason, is making me think about the things we leave behind, like creating wills, thinking about these important things because we understand that we only have a limited time. So this could also be people around us within our lives, even yourself. This is something you could be called to think about. Insurance, life insurance, wills, these things that we don't want to have to think about, but they are empowerment for our future. So something about an important woman figure, I'm seeing both individually for some and collectively, where this woman is stepping into a place of questioning greater things, what she's leaving behind, her roots, and I feel she wants to leave behind something of importance. So I really don't know what that means for the collective, but I do sense also, in a more general sense, what this looks like for how the week is playing out is that we're really stepping into a more feminine way of processing life this week. I feel that there's been so much hustle and bustle in the last few months for a lot of people. I look around, I see it everywhere. My family, myself, just people all around in the world, my neighbors. And I feel this is an opportunity to slow down a bit and to see what we have lurking in our garden, what we need to weed out, seeds that we can begin to plant new. But I do feel that there's a lot of clearing happening this week of like old stories, and seeing what parts of those stories are worth carrying on into this like synopsis of your journey. There's certain things that need to transform in the way that you're interpreting it so that they are not so heavy on your heart. And maybe not that you need to, but like life is encouraging you to transform certain pains and burdens into something more beautiful this week. So there's an opportunity to access a more feminine, connective energy, where maybe you've been more masculine driven, having to focus on just survival, a lot of timing I'm getting, like things just coming up, where I feel this week you'll have a bit of a gap to process in a different way, which is great. So things are looking to play out in a way where leaving this week, we are more reflective on weeding out what doesn't belong. I feel like this week is just one that is leading us into pulling out not only things from our life that we can see and engage with that don't serve us, but energies that have been ingrained into us that can just weigh in our bodies, of maybe feeling like an urgency that we don't want to feel around simple tasks, and feeling like we're rushing and moving through life because we've been conditioned to feel like everything is do or die or instant and so important. So learning to reprioritize your energy and weed out what is not in alignment with where you want to be. The advice for the week I'm really getting is to focus on being playful, being loyal to the things that ground you and support you spiritually. Try to create some non-negotiable around a grounding activity. Once or twice throughout the day could be really, really great, especially for the highly mentally active people like myself, who are just always buzzing and getting ideas and need to be in your body a bit more. I would say also be flexible with energy as things are changing, be adaptable this week, and curious about how things are shifting for you in life and how they want to shift for you rather than rigid around how things are going and maybe trying to hold on to the way things have been, which I know is so rough because I do sense that we could be craving this nurturing and remembrance, but it's almost like, it's making me think, which is so sad. Oh, wow. This is so specific. I just have to share it, but it's making me think of when we lose a mother, and a mother was our original source of nutrients, of life force, of love and connection. And when our mother is transitioning into her next space and phase in her journey, we have to find nurturance through other forms. We no longer have access. So it's something very symbolic of that. I know that we all have very different relationships with our mothers, so all my grace there. And there's something about the symbolism of that, of finding new ways to nurture, because the original sources, something that we were given or what we've been used to, the coping mechanisms, they just don't support the deeper needs, and that we are finding more courage to go a bit deeper this week, to feel safer with supporting ourselves through more aligned means. Okay, so this is giving me a little more healthy resourcing, less coping. Okay, that's what I get for like the advice this week: grounding, slow moving, thoughtful, while giving yourself lots of space to process your emotions. Being a bit of an open cup this week, as in curious, explorative about yourself and the world around you, will provide you with a lot of emotional clearing and also positive stimulation for weeks ahead. So that's what I'm getting. I'm going to leave it there. Once again, all my information is below. Take care for the week, and I will see you guys in a future video.